What's up, guys? My name is Tyla Amanda, and I'm a yoga instructor who works with professional athletes, primarily American football players. And one of the most common injuries amongst NFL players is hamstring strains. So I wanted to offer a video that will help you to lengthen your hamstring and strengthen your hamstring to help you prevent hamstring strains. Strains occur when you have excessive force while there is lengthening of the muscle. So it can happen when you're running, changing directions quickly. If you have really tight hamstrings, you are increasing the risk of experiencing a hamstring strain. If your muscles are extremely fatigued, you're also increasing the risk of experiencing a strain. So this flow and these exercises that I'm going to show you are going to give you options to help you increase mobility and range and lengthen the muscle, and also help you to strengthen them. So let's get started. You may want to have a couple yoga blocks with you if you are not very flexible, or if you just want a little extra support. They're super helpful, or you can even use something like a big book or anything that is yoga block shaped. So a really common stretch to strengthen your hamstrings is just a simple forward fold. When you come into a forward fold, you can start with lengthening nice and tall and then folding forward at the hips. This is where blocks can come in handy. You can bring your hands to blocks, and you can have a slight bend in the knees if you need to. When you're in your forward fold, what you want to do is make sure that the weight is forward in the feet. So you're not sending the hips back, but instead shifting the weight forward. This is going to allow the hamstring to lengthen more, so you'll get a deeper stretch. A common pose in yoga is also a halfway lift, where you come into a flat back position from your forward fold. This is an excellent stretch for your hamstrings as well. When you're in this flat back position, you're adding a little bit of extra load from the upper body. But again, you want to keep the weight forward instead of sending the hips back. Shift the weight forward so you can get full range of motion in the hamstrings. So we'll cycle through that a few times with our breath. This is a half sun salutation. Inhale the arms overhead, extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, finding your flat back with a halfway lift. Exhale, bend at the knees, forward fold. Inhale, tuck the tailbone, bend the knees, roll all the way up to standing. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through the backs of the legs, lengthen through the spine. Shift the weight forward, halfway lift. Exhale, release at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, tuck the tailbone, roll all the way up to standing. One more time, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through the legs, lengthen through the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, release at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, release. Another stretch you can do to help lengthen your hamstrings is pyramid pose. There's a couple ways you can come into pyramid pose. We're just going to start from Tadasana, mountain pose, and take a forward fold. So start with an inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. And then you'll take one leg and step it back just a couple feet, keeping the foot flat on the mat. You can have your feet about hip distance apart so you're able to balance there. And you can bring your blocks underneath the shoulders. From here, you're going to lengthen through both legs as much as you can. Once again, we'll take our flat back here, shifting our weight again so that we're more forward than back, lengthening through the legs. And then you can release at the hips and bring the torso, head, forehead down closer to your front knee. This is a great stretch for the hamstring. Feels amazing, and it's not a hard pose to get into. I'll show it to you on the other side. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step the foot back just a couple feet. Place the bottom of the foot flat on the mat, and then start to lengthen through the front leg. If you can only come to a bent knee, that's totally fine. You can work your way until you're able to lengthen it more. We'll bring your blocks and hands underneath the shoulders, and then on an inhale, lengthen through the spine, shifting the weight a little bit forward to really get a full lengthening in the back of the front leg. And then exhale, drop the torso, bring the nose closer to the knee. And always take a moment to breathe in your stretch, seeing if there are places where you can release tension with your exhale and get a little deeper into your stretch. And then you can come out of it the way you came. The next exercise we're going to do is called bridge pose, and this is one that you can do with or without weights. I'm going to do it without weights, but I am going to use my yoga block. So you're going to start by coming down onto your backs, bending the knees, having the feet flat on the mat, heels just underneath the knees, or could be a little bit closer, a little bit further, depending on what feels most comfortable for you. And then you can stick a block in between the thighs and the knees so that you have something to squeeze against. From here, you're going to lift the hips off the mat, starting with the tailbone, so tucking the tailbone underneath and then lifting the hips from there. So here, you have the block here so that you can squeeze the knees together and keep them in line. And as you lift, you'll feel your glutes and your hamstrings tightening. That is where you work to strengthen the hamstrings here so that they don't fatigue as easily when you're playing in a game. So again, tuck the tailbone underneath, press the hips up, lengthen through the spine, keep the neck long here so you're not crunching the neck, you're still able to breathe. Squeeze the blocks together and feel hamstrings and the glutes tightening. And then as you lower, you'll lower down from the top of the spine all the way down, one vertebrae at a time until you've reached the ground. So you can do that a few times. You can always stick a weight on your hips if you want a little extra weight to help strengthen that. The next thing we're going to do is flow through a couple balance poses that will help to not only strengthen and lengthen your hamstrings, but also help you build stability, a little bit of flexibility, strengthen the ankles, strengthen the core. It really hits a lot of elements that are essential for professional athletes. So I highly recommend you give this exercise a try. You're going to start standing with your feet hip distance apart, parallel to each other, and then you'll shift the weight onto one leg and bring the other leg to about a 90-degree angle. So you're bending the knee here. You have to engage the core here, try to keep the rib cage from splaying, so you don't want it to be out there like this. Keep it nice and tight. You can bring your hands to like goalpost arms, and then from there you'll send the leg that's lifted back behind you, come into a warrior 3 pose. So you're stabilizing the ankle here, you're lengthening through the hamstring. There's all this load from the upper body and the leg that you are supporting. And then come back to your 90-degree knee. Do that a few times and tell me that your hamstring does not feel stronger. It's a great test of your balance, your focus, and your strength. Just 3 rounds of that and my leg is on fire. But we gotta be balanced, so I'm gonna do it on the other side. So again, you start with your feet hip distance apart, parallel to each other. Shift your weight onto your standing leg so that you can lift the other leg, bring it to about 90 degrees. Find your goalpost arms, and then send the foot behind you. Reach the arms back, come to your warrior 3. Bring the knee back to 90 degrees. Send the leg back. Make sure you breathe here. One more time. Folding forward into warrior 3. And then slowly, with control, bringing the knee and arms back to starting position. Give that a try, see how you feel. Keep working at it because it's really going to help you stabilize, strengthen your ankles, strengthen the hamstrings, the quads. You're going to feel it all over the place and it's going to be a game changer for you. So there you have it, a few simple exercises that you can incorporate into your regular routine to help you lengthen and strengthen your hamstrings and help you reduce the risk of hamstring strains in a game or practice. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.